It's 24 minutes after 8 o'clock. Listen, it is our After 8 conversation this evening. Why are you single? And this can go anywhere. So please, if you've got little ones at home, use discernment and caution if we're about to get into this conversation, because we're going to deep dive into this topic. And joining me this evening to help us unpack of this, we're joined by Thabang Tlaka, who's an author looking at relationships and marriage. We're also joined by Dr. Kitumetse Mashego, no stranger here on Metro FM Talk, our clinical psychologist. And of course, you're going to be hearing this evening from Lebu Mutsume, who has been single, she says, for so long that she's even lost count of the years. And the question I'm asking you this evening is, why are you single? Thank you so much to all of you for joining us this evening. Let me start off with the clinical psychologist, Dr. Kitumetse. There's us being single for like a month or 6 months to try to recover from our last heartbreak. Watch all the Bridgerton movie, the series, watch Bridget Jones' Diary and eat chocolate and ice cream and sing I'm a Survivor by Destiny's Child, and then get ourselves back up again and get out there again of love. And then there's some of us who it's been 5, 6, 10, 15, 20 years of nothing. Why do people become single for the longest period of time? And is being single for long normal?
Good evening, and good evening to the listener. Thank you for having me, Faith. But as the saying goes, Njolo is not easy. But I think what happens is when people get into relationships, they forget that, you project whatever it is that you are carrying. And I think in the intro, you talked about how you were in relationships. So we are impacted by experiences, not just with intimate partners, but also maybe our parents, childhood things. And that will then come out in the way we relate in relationships. And I always say to people that, remember, when you get into a relationship, be it marriage or whatever it is that you are in, you're a person first. You're an individual first. You must come first, then the relationship. Otherwise, you end up losing yourself, and, then you can build a lot of resentment. But yes, once you are hurt, certain people do choose not to go back for a while. But I recommend that, do the work, because just because you were single for 5 years, the minute you go in again, if you didn't do the work, you're going to probably meet, horrific people again, if that's what you were running away from, if you didn't do the internal work. Yeah. Because sometimes, relationships is a reflection of what's going on internally, the people we choose.
I like that one. The relationships we get into are a reflection of what is happening inside of us. Is that what you're saying? Oh, that is so definitely deep, Dr. K. Why is it? It's a Thursday. The people that I feel like that needs to be the people that we choose to be in love with. So the husband that I'm married to, the boyfriend that I'm seeing, the lover that I have, the little side that I've got is a reflection of what is happening inside of me.
Definitely, because you can imagine you have people who, on the outside or externally, they for example, educated, they have things that people want, and they find themselves in these relationships where there's a lot of abuse or there's a lot of, toxicity, and they're not leaving. Now, the question is always, because people do not find you to destroy you, right? We let people in. And the question is, why are you staying? Why are you letting such a person in? What's going on internally, right? What is it about their toxicity that you are drawn to? Because toxic people are not picky. They just cast out a net, and whoever they catch, they draw in. So if you are one of the people they draw in, the question is, what is it about them, this toxic person, that resonated with you? And then that's the part you need to work on.
Sure. Thabang, let me bring you in here as well. I have a certain lens of perspective and bias that I would love for you to shed light on. I've often come across every time we speak about singlehood or singleness, I've often found that the people that are at the forefront of championing the conversation are the women. Most of the time when we're speaking about single people, we're speaking to single women. When you're looking at men, do men stay single for long?
No, not really. Men try, men try to stay single, but it's very difficult. Men try to be in relationships, but they struggle. Issues around. There's a saying: "Tell me how you're raised, and I'll tell you how you love." It's what the other guest is saying, right? So our experience is modeling. There's issue around modeling. People are hurt. We live in a context where there's a lot of choices, and so when there's a lot of choice, sometimes we struggle to pick. And it's a different hierarchy of values. We value different things, and of course, sometimes because of location, we live in very different spaces. But men in general struggle, want relationships, but are struggling to relate right now because many things have changed.
So what do they do? So what do usually men do? So women become single and they take this hiatus, and men monkey bar. So they hold on, and then when this one is not working, they go, whoop, let me go to the next one.
I think one of the things that men are always trying to be in relationships. And of course, if the relationships are not working, we do get men who are going their own way, right? Peter Pan, as they say, men just say, this is not working. I'm going to go in my own way. I mean, you can see the phenomenon across the globe. I think even in the Asian countries, men just doing their things, giving up on relationships, also taking the idea that relationships are sort of like a scam. That's a popular topic. Men, talk around relationships like, I think relationships, I'm in this relationship to be scammed. So men think about that. But by and large, men are always trying to be with women. It's maybe men can't now because it's that concept about hypergamy, right? Women are doing well, and women date across and above. And if you are a man not doing well, you don't have a lot of choices. Women look for the 1%. So men try, but they struggle.
Oh, I like what you said, Tabang. I'm going to stay with you on this one. You're saying women date across and above. They don't date down.
Yes, it's the concept of, hypergamy. We know that women, it's a very important thing for women to date equals. Women struggle to date short men, and metaphorically short men in their pockets, right? So women want men across and men above. And so with the way the world is, with the economy, if men are not matching women in that sense, men struggle in that relationships. And maybe later we'll see the other one, the inverse of it, hypergamy, where women have to date down. I'll put that in inverted commas. But there's the economics of relationships. And if men are not doing well, it's very hard to date.
And let me bring in my singleton, Lebo. Lebo, a very good evening to you and welcome to Metro FM Talk.
Hi, Faith. How are you?
I'm good, and you? I was having a read, and I love my producer. She says she's been single for so long, she doesn't know how many years she's been single for. So, Lebo, how long have you been single for?
Look, I mean, I really don't know, but what I do know is that my longest relationship is probably with my hot water bottle. Like, it's lasted longer than any relationship really, other than my mother and my parents. But like I would say, maybe 7, 8, 9 years, maybe.
You've been single for 9 years.
And off. Yeah, there's talking stages in Jolo, but not like a serious relationship, And I think that, I was raised Christian, so like a lot of the times you try to do the right thing. I think my last proper relationship was probably with my fiance, and that was back in varsity, which was the first boyfriend that I actually really had and stuff. So after that, it's been downhill. It's honestly been downhill. So,
one day I feel like we need to
hectic. Yeah,
I feel like Christian girls need to have a conversation one day about what happens when you're single in your 30s at the church, because the conversation of wait for the one, wait for your husband, wait. No, I'm 32. I'm 33. I'm 34. I'm 35. There are real needs, physical needs. Don't tell me to wait. I'm not 23. I'm not 21. I think we need to get into a conversation. And by the way, I'm going to ask you, in the church or in spaces of faith, do we even tackle that issue of what happens when you're in your 30s or late 30s or 40s? And you're not a child anymore, 21, 22, being told to wait for the Prince Charming. But you're now at a stage where you say, no, but there's a whole, I want a family, I want a husband, my needs. I've got physical, emotional, sexual needs that I need fulfilled. Not like I'm 22, but like I'm a grown woman.
Right. I mean, it gets to a point where it's just like this, I guess like the elephant in the room, where it's on one hand, it's like you have to be praying for the right match and so forth. And on the other hand, it's like we don't talk about that. We won't, you're still a virgin, basically, in the minds or in the facade of like your churchgoers and the people at church. And then it's also like a thing where then it's a thing of like your biological clock where people are asking you to have kids, which is like a very, very difficult thing as a woman to navigate. It's like, oh, you should be having kids. And it's like, well, I mean, how am I going to be having a kid without being married and then also still like not having a partner, So it's one of those things where it's just like it's been so long that it becomes so awkward that no one addresses it. And it's just like an unspoken taboo, essentially, where it's like, ufitetse, ufitetse, like they've lost their charm.
You're a spinster.
Yeah, like you're a spinster at like 30-something.
Sure. Imagine that, a spinster. They're saying that you've got cats at the age of 30. My gosh, Lebo.
Yeah, man. Like, I want to I'm thinking of getting a dog now because it's like, you know what? Let me try see if I can, build a family with a dog first and have a partnership and a friendship with a dog. But I mean, yeah. So I mean, the reason why I think I am single though is, like I've realized that over the years I've been a runner. I'll like run away from certain things, and it's based on a fear. Sometimes a tangible fear, sometimes a fear that is not necessarily reasonable or logical. Where you just like, hey, you never know if you're going to be meeting a love scammer or an abusive person, or like what are the real reasons for wanting to be in a long-term relationship.
Sure.
So, yeah.
I appreciate the vulnerability, and we're going to go deeper into it. And as I said, I'm asking the question to you. Why are you single?
Hi, Faith, and the rest of the team and the Metro FM listeners. Why am I single? Because as we're getting older and you become more aware, and it's very hard to find people that align with who you are, because now they cannot gaslight and manipulate you. You know your worth. You want to be loved how you want to be loved. And it's very hard because people are looking for people to manipulate and gaslight and lie to. That's the reason why we single, some of us. This is Norma from Durban. Thank you. Nice topic.
Why you single? Gugubi. I mean, as a guy, I've lived in the 80s and the 90s. Yeah, nowadays dating scene is like a war zone. No ways. I mean, what happened to just date each other and feel the love? Have you seen what girls are talking about online? What do you have? This, and this. It's all about material. A man is being tossed like an ATM. No ways. I think men are scared. And like, the more you love somebody, the more one day they're just gonna walk away from you. If you're a dude, it happens to you. Especially this thing of be Mr. Good Guy. You know how many guys have been hurt by being nice? That's how we learn from movies, though. That if you're nice to a girl, then that's it. But people who are so mean, they're the ones girls run to. It's a crazy, like a battlefield. Yeah, no. What happened to authenticity? Back in the day, girls used to run away from guys who were bad. If someone don't have a job, they have a lot of money, she used to ask, where did you get this money from? No, they don't even ask. No, it's all about money. So guys have stepped back. And the contribution into a man's life is just like you've been giving. She's taking. What is she contributing? Weaves and nails. And BBL.
Good evening, Faith, and good evening to you listeners. Well, I love the topic. And in my experience, like I've been single for 5 years now. With my last relationship, I was with the person for 7 years. Yeah, 7 years. So it was 6 years and a couple of months. But the breakup was about like she went for an abortion after me knowing that she was pregnant, and only getting all this from her best friend before her telling me that she booked an appointment with the doctor, and then that's how she got rid of the baby. And for that, I just don't trust women anymore, and I think that's the reason why I'm single.
Good evening, Faith. Faith, man. Faith, you know what is my take? My take is, I don't want to be in a relationship and then I still struggle. I'm independent woman. I can do things for myself. But then men tend to relax and think you are superwoman. I want to be vulnerable. I want to be a girl. So I've been single for more than 3 to 4 years. And if the guy is not going to fix at least a tire for me, and then I'm in town, kipusha koloi, that's not going to happen. Can he be balancing something in my life at least? I'm not saying he should bring the money, but they should be active in a relationship. Thank you.
I swear if my partner let me push my own tire, he'll be known as my ex-partner. Just saying. So the question I ask, why are you still single? This weekend, South Africa's rugby game is heating up, and so are the deals at ShopRite. Grab a 750ml 3-ship select whiskey for only R169.99, saving you R35. Stock up on a 500ml 6-pack of Windhoek Premium Draft Beer for just R99.99 per pack. And don't forget the 3-litre 4th Street wine boxes, only R119.99. Get your game day sorted and make your weekend extra with ShopRite. Not for persons under 18. Enjoy responsibly. Why are you still single? I'm not talking about Ju's been single for a month. I'm talking about Ju's been single for 5 years and more. What is the reason behind it? You know, I made mention earlier on that in the beginning I used to, which is something that I'm working on, I used to lose myself in relationships and lose myself from a place where I used to put the man before me, the man's needs before my own. So I used to want to make sure that he's okay and that we get to spend time together. Even if I had stuff, I used to make sure that I would punish myself so that I could make him comfortable, which I think I'm learning to be in a very healthier space. And another one that I used to do that led to me having to take a little bit of a mini break from dating and work on it is that I used to like people that were not available, emotionally unavailable people. But that also came in from the childhood that I had, where I had to work with my inner child and talk to my inner child and forgive my inner child and not forgive, but as much as to soothe my inner child, saying it was not your fault what happened and you deserve somebody who is present all the time. But why are you still single? Before I go back to my guest, I think Anonymous in Gauteng has been holding on for quite some time. I want to give them an opportunity to put their piece as well. Anonymous, hi.
I'm tired of kissing frogs. I'm tired of being lied to because I don't know how to put it in English. Ko ke ratang ko teng, a ke ratiwe. And ko ke sa rateng teng, ke ko go teng ke ratiwe.
So you're tired of kissing frogs, Anonymous. So in other words, you're tired of unrequited love. So where you love or where your heart is, that heart is the love is not reciprocated. Where you fall in love, nobody's catching you. And where somebody's falling for you, you're not catching them.
Thank you.
Why do you think that is? And how long have you been single for, Anonymous?
Yo, I don't know. I think close to 10 years now.
10 years?
Yes.
No girlfriend or boyfriend?
No, I just tenders here and there, but my heart is not there.
I'm sorry, Nana. I don't mean to laugh. It's just the way
you're forgiving.
So it's just the way that you word things. So that's why you've been single. It's just tenders here and there, but nothing permanent.
And then, we are done with Faith. Okay, sharp.
10 years. Do you want to break the cycle of 10 years?
I think I'm done. It's fine. Let me run on.
No man anonymous. Not even a beautiful woman that you set your sights on?
No, I'm done with this beauty thing because of beauty is expensive.
I hear you, Anonymous. I hear
Thank you, Faith.
Thank you. Oh, Dr. Kitimesi, these phone calls are breaking my heart. They literally are breaking my heart. But it's real issues, right? And I want to also piggyback off and expand a little bit about some of the comments that are coming through. The men, what I'm noticing here is that the men are saying the reason why I'm single is because women don't want me for me anymore. They want me for what they can get from me. So the relationship with women has become very transactional. They see what is on social media, they see what is on TikTok, they see what is on Instagram, and they want the Instagram life from me. So that's what I'm noticing from a man's perspective. And from the woman's perspective, I'm noticing that they're just tired of kissing frogs, and they want the gentle kind of love. They want the chivalry kind of love. They want chivalry. And again, it's where do we find each other? Men are saying, I don't want to go there anymore. Women want to use me, and women want to take from me, and women want to transact with me. And the women are saying, I want the man that's still chivalrous. I want him to open doors, fix my tire, change a light bulb, do something.
I think as people, we go into a relationship and we think things should be automatic. So because I liked one thing about you, I feel like, no, let's make it work. Right? Type of thing. So I think we, as human beings, firstly, we need to individually understand your ideal character traits of a partner, because we don't know, right? We don't know, we don't think about it, we're not intentional. And church going is not a character trait. Tall, dark, and handsome is not a character trait. Yellow bone is not a character trait. Moneyed is not a character trait. So character traits are those things that remain when there's stress. And stress is good stress and bad stress. Meaning if this person wins the lotto, their behavior when they are happy, and also, when they are stressed, where, there's tough times, that is what remains. So for example, if you want someone confident or someone who has EQ, right, then you need to ensure that this person has it so that your needs are served. So we fight with someone because our needs are not met. And what happens is you meet someone, maybe they have one out of the 5 needs that you don't want to compromise on, such as confidence, gentleness, kindness, EQ, and maybe they come with one. Because maybe your past relationship, the person you were with didn't have EQ. Then you meet down the road, he gives you EQ and you think he's everything. But actually, John is not a nice person. He just, presents as if he's got EQ. So we really need to understand our needs so that we don't compromise ourselves. Because if you compromise yourself, you're going to be fighting about that thing all the time. You're going to be texting, explaining why kindness is nice, why people must be kind, and the relationship is not growing. You're just fighting about your needs that are not met. And adults don't just, change. They must see the need. Why are you trying to build an adult? So I think that's self-awareness of our needs. And if you go on a date and you've got these needs and you're sitting across someone and you can see that, for example, kindness is if it's important to you, a waiter comes and the partner you're having lunch with, you can see they're rude to this person. The likelihood is they're not a kind person. Sure. So then you run. And, otherwise you're going to be trying to teach them how to be kind, and that's going to be exhausting.
And that is not, and I loved what you said earlier on. We're going to go pay some bills and then we're going to come back to you, Tabang. But I like what you said, Dr. Kitumezi. Going to church is not a character trait. Having money is not a character trait. What was the other one?
Yellow bone,
being a
dark, and
yellow,
handsome.
tall, dark and handsome
How
is
someone
not a
looks, because
character
what
trait.
happens
That
when they
beard,
gain weight.
that beard, that beard that we all like, that one is not a
It's not
character.
a character trait.
Having a beard is not a character trait. So know the difference between the activities of an individual and the character of the individual.
Definitely. Because that one remains when there's tough times, how they show you love, when they're stressed. Otherwise, you're going to be fighting all the time about the character or the needs not being served, convincing them to be kind. And how do you convince an adult to do what they don't want to do?
I hear you. We're asking you, why are you single? We're coming back with your calls and voice notes, and also we're going to hear from our guests as well.
Good evening, Faith. I'm actually a transgender. The reason I stayed single for so long is because the guys I dated back then, they used to hide me. They would come at night and leave early in the morning. Even when I visit them, I will have to leave early. So I hated that. I didn't feel loved just like a normal girl. So I hated that. That's why I stayed single for so long. And the time I got love, my boyfriend started being obsessed. We would go out in public. He loved me for me. I loved him. But he started being obsessed and abusive. So I couldn't handle the relationship. I left it in December last year. Now I'm currently single and I am looking for the guy who will love me for me, because gay people also deserve love. The topic must not only include men and women. We need to be loved. That's why most of us are single. We are jokes to most of people. So I hate that narrative. Love gay people. If you are after 9, love your person.
I hear you, and you're right. The queer community deserve love too, as we all deserve love. Lebo, when we're going through, do you have a checklist of the man, or did you ever have the checklist, and did anyone ever come close to meeting that checklist?
Yeah, I do have a checklist. I think my checklist, so generally I do date people that are okay or seemingly okay. And then I think that in the sense when I date, it's more like the talking stage, or like, you go out for a couple of drinks and stuff. But the problem starts when you start seeing things like their perspectives on life, like someone who doesn't want to push as much as they can, or they still have a lot of, like they don't have, it's the nitty-gritties, it's the characteristics that are not, that don't align between, myself and those people. So, like, cool people, like nice people, but then at some point, there's a point where I dated someone who turned out to be, very fraudulent.
Oh, wow. They were a
like
criminal.
He was a fraud. And, it was only like after a while where I was just like, something is it's not working out here. They say they've got a job, but they're not, something's not working out here. But they've got the money and stuff like that. And then so things like that where it's like, it just doesn't work out.
The character of a person.
Yeah, the character for me, I just want, you want someone who's kind, and like Dr. Dimi is saying that, like, who's got a good EQ, who's generous, affectionate, and just like overall respectful,
I hear you.
And someone who can be, at least for me, street smart and school smart, but who has the wisdom to know the difference.
I hear you. Tabang, let me bring you in here quickly, and I'm also aware of time. How many of us are single because we have this list that can't be met? He must be tall, he must be dark, he must have that beard, he must be a Christian, he must be rich, he must have loving parents, How many of us are in singleness because we have created images or tick boxes for people?
Many of us face because I think if you look at the statistics, right, the average person actually didn't grow up watching a couple loving each other properly in South Africa. So we don't have the right models. And many of us think we know what love is or how a relationship works, right? We say we have even the love languages, they can actually be responses to trauma, right? I like quality time, but maybe you like that because you neglected. So one, many of us are like that, and because we do have these fantasies, we call them love maps, we've got these ideas, and sometimes they're not texted. What we have to maybe understand is that, so we have to learn skills like how to mate select. How do I pick a mate and why is this mate good? And we have to know how to have conflict. And when we have disagreements, how do we work through the disagreements? And then we also, we are in this bubble where we think the relationship is about me. But actually, if you look at the research, partly why relationships work, it has to do with the context you are in, the family you are from, the history. So there's a legacy with relationships, right? You can even look at it across certain places in the world. Some relationships work, in some areas they struggle. So I think we do have these ideas, but we need to test them. But I'm very hopeful. I think if we actually went into some love education to actually learn what makes a relationship work. And what makes a relationship work is that we agree on the important things. So when we go in a relationship, that's what should be at the forefront, to say, I've got my values, and I'm looking for somebody who matches those values, and not to try and convert people, and but understanding how a relationship works, how do we deal with problems, and how we can build this thing and towards what end.
Loud and clear, heard. Let me take a voice note. I'm also seeing that we're running out of time.
Bible faith Gobi. Not that we don't want to be in relationships, God, but it is so difficult to be in a relationship. Actually, let me rather rephrase my statement. Where are the men? We are here. I'm here. The society puts so much pressure on ourselves. I'm in my earliest 40s. I'm actually 41 this year. I've got a son, 17-year-old son. I would love to get someone that I can at least call a partner, but I would love to share more on my personal experience, but I don't think I'm that brave, because it evokes a lot of emotions in me, because you get to a point whereby you ask yourself, is there something wrong with me? And so on and so forth. But not in a relationship, not by choice.
Not by choice. I appreciate the vulnerability that we've approached this subject, and the authenticity that you've brought onto the subject. Thank you so much for sharing. And I'm hoping that our experts were able to provide some further insight as to how do we start beginning to work on ourselves and be okay within ourselves. I'm out of time, but I really do appreciate you. I appreciate everybody. Thank you so much for just shedding some light. Dr. Kitumit, as always. Tabang, thank you so much. Lebo, my love, thank you so much for sharing your story and your truth. I do leave you here this evening, and I leave you in the wonderful hands of Paul Mtechacha on this Fake Friday. You can enjoy some good music. It is a Fake Friday, so Paul is going to have lots of fun all the way until midnight, and until you and me talk again.